What's up, guys? Welcome to the Pulse Athletics Podcast, LA's premier baseball resource. We're going to be talking about anything from recruiting to relevant news in baseball. Let me go ahead and introduce your hosts.
I'm Christian Pagalitis.
Matt Garcia.
Nick.
Jonathan Tyler.
Alex.
We all have baseball experience, and we all played at a fairly high level. I played D2 ball, JT played D1 ball, Alex played D1 ball, Pag played a lot of ball, and and Matt Garcia played NAI ball. Yeah. And he played NAI. We have a bunch of questions that we're going to be asking each other. Pags, you got a question for us?
I just kind of curious because when we were growing up, you look at every single lineup, like in the early 2000s, things like that, you have at least 6-7 guys batting 300 in the game.
Yeah.
And nowadays, you got 11 guys in the whole league, right? So it's like, I get it, guys, stuff is getting better, guys are throwing harder, stuff's moving better, but it's like, these are the best of the best in the world, right?
Yeah.
The best 800 major leaguers in the world, the best we have to offer. Why, back then, were they better hitters than today? That's my real, question.
Well, I mean, the simple answer to that is just pitchers are getting better, you know? I mean, me and JT talk about it all the time. Just pitchers are throwing harder, pitchers are throwing with more movement, you know, and it's just, I mean, with the distance that you have, is the blink of an eye. You know, and so just because, pitchers' performance is increasing, but hitters can only see so much.
You could argue that hitters are advancing as well, though.
They are. I mean, Mookie Betts, for example, right? He has the slowest bat path in the league, right? Mm-hmm. And everyone talks about having a quick bat path, right? So, I mean, staying in the zone is probably helping guys succeed more at that level. But at the same time, pitchers are. What's the standard average velo now? What we looking at, 96, 97?
I want to say it's probably 94 at least.
94, right? But I mean, Hunter Green with the top average starting pitcher's velo at 98, right? That's firm.
Firm, yeah.
You got Paul Skeens now. Yeah. I mean, what is he averaging?
100?
Just a little less than 100.
Averages the first pitch of 99 100.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's gonna make all those off-speed pitches a lot firmer. It's gonna make it look like a fastball for longer to the hitter as well.
Yeah.
I also think too, I do agree that pitching is usually a step or two ahead of hitting in general. But I want to say that the game is changing in terms of owners probably want to sell baseball more with bombs, doubles, and RBIs.
No, that's true.
So
baseball is part of the entertainment business.
Yeah,
you know?
it's at the end of the day, it's a business. It's entertainment. People don't want to see singles. They don't.
Well, that's why it's we look at a guy like Kyle Schwarber who's batting 180 every year, but he's hitting 45 jacks. Mm-hmm. So it's you look at that. The game's kind of more focused on OPS and stuff like that. And it's not focused on average.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's growing up, I think we were all told, if you were batting 300, you're going to be an all-star. You can fail 7 out of 10 times. You're going to be an all-star.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But now they don't emphasize all this. You can be an all-star, you bat 150. But you got all these home runs.
Yeah.
And, I get it, home runs is a big plus in Major League Baseball. Like you just said, the owners, that's what they're kind of selling. That's their product they're putting out there. So, I don't know. I think it's more impressive to see a hitter like a Luis Urias who's literally he's just peppering the ball everywhere.
I got a question for you guys. Who would you rather have, Luis Urias or Kyle Schwarber on your team?
Luis Urias. Yeah, much more contact.
Yeah.
You know,
I would agree.
As a pitcher, he's a hard out. You know, hard outs are gonna always be a pitcher's nemesis or enemy. You know, it's hard to get that dude out, and so when you have a guy like Schwarber, yeah, I mean, he'll go 0 for one game and then 1 for 4 the next game with a bomb, but he's easy to get out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So
as a pitcher, you'd rather face Kyle Schwarber.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's the thing is I think the MLB is kind of taking a step away from that. You know, just because they want big numbers, they want a high exit velocity, they want guys throwing 100. They want guys dropping bombs that are 400 plus feet. You know,
It's what sells. It's what gains your attention, especially to people that are maybe not necessarily true baseball fans.
Yeah.
You know, so it expands viewership.
Yeah, well, I got a question for you guys then. Do you think that the data that we get nowadays is hurting or helping the game? Not just development, but all the way around. Like the way that guys are looking at baseball, the way that guys are developing. You know, like I'm willing to argue. It is definitely both, but I'm willing to argue that data kind of plays a role in injury risk now too. You know, because the way that guys can actually manipulate the ball as a pitcher, right, to create more movement, right, with an arm path that they might not be like able to sustain with that type of pitch, you know, causing elbow injuries, shoulder injuries, you know.
Yeah, look, I think there's a lot of information out there, and personally, I feel bad for some of the younger generations in this game because I think it's definitely overwhelming for a lot of those guys, and they get a lot of information,
whether it's from coaches or from online platforms, and I think a lot of those guys struggle with interpreting and navigating through all that. Yeah. So I think a lot of those guys get lost in there.
No, absolutely, and I think the other thing too is like being the coach, you know. So one thing I didn't let you guys know is we're all coaches at PFA. By the way, shout out PFA, best facility in the Valley for sure, hands down. Literally everything you need here. You could follow them online, PFA Sports, San Fernando Valley. So, but anyways, being a coach here, you know, we have access to all this data, you know, and I think that if this data is being used incorrectly, you know, like the some coaches treat it more as a crutch than they do a tool. You know, and so they're doing anything and everything to just make the numbers better, you know, but that doesn't necessarily translate to game.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, whether it be, you know, tools to measure data, you know, plyo balls, or it doesn't matter. It's all tools to try to get you to become a better baseball player. But at the end of the day, you have to take a step back and realize these are all just tools. You know, not every tool should be in your toolbox.
So yeah, lucky enough we have a data guy, Brett Homer, shout out, great data guy. Also helps us out with our showcases and metrics. Yeah, I mean, having someone like that in our back pocket to be able to teach us, you know, is definitely a big help. Being able to educate all of our coaches, you know, on our metrics, and having him in our back pocket to be able to teach us as coaches, you know, is a huge help, so that we're not treating our metrics and our data as so much of a crutch. You know, it's definitely a tool to show us a kid's or any player for that matter, their progress, you know, and being able to show like the players kind of like where they can succeed, where they should fail, or where they can succeed and where they can fail, you know, is definitely a huge help. But we want to, as a coach, keep it away from turning it into a crutch.
I think like kids nowadays, especially like high school, somewhat college, I think they focus too much on trying to hit 100 exit velocity, and which that's great. It's great, right? But it's like mechanics kind of break down, and we're trying to swing as hard as we can.
Exactly.
So it's like that's what I really don't like too much about focusing on exit velocity, because it's like it should be effortless. Like, you know what I mean? It shouldn't be like off the tee and we're swinging with everything.
Yeah.
And just everything breaks down.
Well, I think go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, like when like you're swinging like as hard as you can, like you go away from your mechanics and everything gets like, you know, all funky, you know. So like, kind of what you were saying is just like, don't go away from your mechanics just because you're trying to hit 100, you know, like, so that's just making you a shitty hitter.
It's true.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, at the same time, like, take it back to when we were playing, right? Like, everyone was saying, like, let the pitcher's velocity dictate how hard the ball's hit. You know, like, just put barrel on the ball. It's that simple. You know, it really is that simple if you break it down. You know, like, yeah, you guys are in here in the cages, you know, like working on your swing constantly, but at the same time, you still have to put barrel on the ball, and that's all that matters. If you don't put barrel on the ball, you don't get a hit, regardless of how good your swing looks.
period.
You know,
Exactly.
like, I mean, you guys remember Hunter Pence, right? Like, that dude's swing was awful. Literally looked like it was straight out of the 1920s.
Yeah.
You know, but one of the best hitters in the MLB at a specific time.
It's true.
You know?
Well, I think he did a really good job of, you know, hitting, right? Because pitching, you're setting the tempo, you're creating the pitch. So I think he just did a really good job of being able to react and adjust to pitches
Yeah, but
to execute
And
the
that-
task of hitting.
and that comes down to just putting barrel on the ball.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
like Hunter Pence, he actually came and worked out with our JUCO in the off season, and we did a scrimmage, and he was playing, and I was catching, and he literally hit a ball that was at his shoelaces, and he ripped it in the right center gap.
Yeah,
He ripped
I
in the
believe
right
it.
center gap, and I'm
I
just
believe it
looking at it
100%.
like, because I set up, and pitcher spotted up a changeup, and he literally ripped it right center
Yeah, I
gap.
mean, do you guys remember when Vladimir Guerrero hit a ball off the ground for a base hit?
Yeah.
It literally bounced
Some of
off
those,
the ground.
some of those weird, quirky guys can be like the best hitters. in
Absolutely,
MLB.
absolutely.
Like a Luis Arias again.
Do you think
Yeah.
it's their focus? Like, because you see, like, Luis Arias' off-season training and how he doesn't even take a step, and he's just swinging and looking like
It's
through
their
the zone.
training. I think it's their training.
without a doubt.
Like his hands just right there.
Just right
To
there.
the ball.
Yep.
Just to the ball.
I heard Freddie Freeman doesn't hit a ball ever on the right side in the cage. They'll always just hit a ground ball to short.
Yeah, I heard that
Yeah,
too.
I've heard that.
So
In the
he's
game,
staying
though,
through.
he'll fucking turn on a fastball.
Yeah,
But you bring up Arias again, and like that's a guy. What's his average exit velocity? 88. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like,
Probably.
dude, he's gonna lead the league in hitting again this year.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like kids think that, oh, I need to hit 100 because say this coach will see that, and like maybe he'll want me to go to his school or things like that. But it's not it's not really that.
Look, if you're 5'7", a $120, you know you're not expected to have a 120 mile an hour exit velocity.
Yeah.
You know, for if you want to get recruited, you know, play to who the type of body type that you have, right? If you're fast, get on base. If you're big, you know, drive in runs. You know, it's that simple. Like,
And then continue to develop.
Absolutely.
on the side,
Obviously,
but,
yeah.
But be the player who you are at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, there's always room for development, you know, and we could go down that rabbit hole like in a second. But like that, if you're not playing to the type of player that you actually are, and you're trying to be someone that you're not, you're never going to have the success that you want to have.
Agreed.
As a
Yeah.
hitting coach, that's the hardest thing to teach the youth.
Absolutely.
I'll have 10-year-olds just try to just
spin and go.
spin off and
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the
try to
other
hit
thing.
400-foot bombs.
Yeah, and like the other thing too is like high school.
200.
Exactly.
like in high school, college coaches, they like. Would you guys agree that college coaches know what they want?
Yeah.
Right? Like, why are these high school kids trying to do things that like they know that they shouldn't be doing? If a college coach would agree that you shouldn't be doing this, you know, like, why not listen to your coach and have a good approach to the to each at bat, right? Knowing exactly what you want to do to have your success,
Yeah.
and put yourself and expose yourself
Yeah.
to success to college coaches.
Yeah, I mean, I think hitters get in trouble when they try to create a result as opposed to letting the game come to them and react to the pitch and just
Exactly.
try to hit the ball hard wherever it's pitched. You know, and that's being able to be disciplined and let the game come to them, right, as opposed to trying to create a result and press.
Yeah,
I think that's where hitters
Exactly.
get in trouble.
Yeah, and
This-
like you were saying, like the approach and everything. A lot of kids don't have an approach.
Yes.
No, they
yes.
And like the kids I do lessons with and stuff like that, I try to teach them like your approach should be line drive up the middle every
Yeah.
single time,
Yeah.
right? And it's just for me, it was more of a focus point. Like line drive up the middle, it's like I'm not gonna get too big or I'm not gonna be too late. You know, I'm just gonna stay centered, and that's all it really is. But kids like nowadays, they just don't comprehend that. You could teach them a million times, but then they'll fight you.
Yeah, I
on
mean,
it.
it's tough because, you know, when they go home, they're on their phone, they see Ohtani homered, but they don't talk about, you know, Luis Arias's multi-hit day.
It's true.
It's very
Right,
hard
it's-
to try and hit a home run.
Okay, let's hold on.
And then-
Go ahead. Keep going. Sorry.
Hit a home run. It's really hard
Oh,
to
yeah.
try and hit a home run and hit a home run.
Yeah.
Every home run most people hit is an accident.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So
Now,
just
I
teaching
mean-
that to the youth is hard.
Yeah, real quick, just take a step back. Like, why is it that Ohtani is just getting all this news? Like you were talking about it earlier with us.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, I get it. He's an incredible athlete. I mean, there's no taking that away from him.
What was
But,
the headline that you were talking
You
about?
know, I was just shocked. You know, Dylan Cease pitched his butt off, throws a no-hitter.
Breaks history.
Breaks correct.
Right.
Second no-hitter in San Diego Padres history. And then part of the same headline, and Ohtani home.
Like, I don't get that.
Personally, look, I'm sick of it.
The MLB is 100% paying for Ohtani's contract with the Dodgers. The Dodgers.
Well, his endorsements alone, he's making upwards to like 150 million.
I know, but now they're taking away from
know.
other players' successes. Like
Yeah, that's true.
I personally think that's messed up. You know, like really.
Well, like you got to think about it. When he was with the Angels, and I'm an Angel fan, so it sucks for me to see him as a Dodger. But it's like when he was with the Angels, it was just him and Trout, and then Trout got hurt, and you know it's just Ohtani, and it's like he brings people to the ballpark. He's baseball. He's the face of baseball.
Great.
And it's like now he's in the media capital of the world, so he's got more eyes on him than he's ever had. So you got to think about why. Like, it's Ohtani hits a home run. They act like he just like walked on water.
Yeah,
Like-
I don't get it.
I mean, he did hit a friggin' bomb like the other day at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, but I mean, the guy's
But-
6'5", 6'6". He's gonna have a 40 home run.
But
year
Dylan
this year.
Cease throwing a no hitter is pretty big. for
Yeah,
baseball. I get that.
dude. That's
Bigger than Ohtani
Hitting
Just
one
hitting one home run.
Yeah.
Like, if Ohtani hit 4 home runs in the game, I get it.
Yeah,
way bigger
that's
though.
different.
It's just I mean,
Exactly.
You know?
It shouldn't be in the same headline.
I do not agree that it should be in the same headline. I don't even think it should get headline news. Like every like how many home runs are hit every day? You know, like and you're gonna point out one dude and put him right in the same headline as a dude that broke history for his
Something
organization.
That, you know, it doesn't happen every day. No hitters don't happen every day.
No hitters
Home
don't
runs
happen. Yeah, I mean you could
Not
go an
no
entire
hitters.
season without seeing a no hitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like why what makes him so special to be put into the headline of something that breaks history?
Just the face of baseball. That's it. He's just the face. I mean, Paul Skeens almost had a no hitter where they took him out due to pitch count, which I think you let him ride.
You
let him ride.
think
Like
so.
you think about it, you just let him ride.
Yeah.
He's on that day, right? But it's like so we see Dylan Cease. It's like how many more no hitters are we gonna see? It's like I feel like in the last few years we've kind of not really cared about it. I feel like the last real big no hitter that was kind of special was Musgrove. Was the first Padre no hitter.
Yeah.
And that's where like you're like oh yeah. But who was the Yankee that threw a no hitter last year? Domingo Herman.
Yeah.
He threw no hitter last. Nobody cared. You guys forgot about it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
did.
I forgot his name. I knew I knew who it was. And
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I think just I mean, for one, news outlets when it comes to sports is very selective. You know, with the type of player. You know, if they see him as someone that is going to be big in the future, you know, they'll give him a little more limelight.
Most Hall of Fame pitchers probably don't have a no hitter. I think you could argue that he's not only the best baseball player we've ever seen, he's probably the best athlete we've ever seen.
That's true. Yeah, I mean,
How do you guys feel?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, look, personally with Ohtani, people say he's great at both, you know, being a pitcher and a hitter, which is true. But personally, I think he's just really, really, really good at one thing, which is creating energy from the ground up into a fast hand out in front of the body and a fast bat out in front of the body.
so now we're getting into development. Love it.
So, I mean, people say he's good at two things, but he's really just really, really good at one thing.
I mean,
That makes sense.
it's hard for him. Like you got to think about it. When you're a little kid, you two-way and like you don't think about it. But when you're at the highest level and you're succeeding at both, it's like I want to know what his where he is mentally. Like to be able to be successful at both. I mean, you're hitting balls 500 feet and you're throwing 100.
Oh, there's 100% a shut off. So like if he knows he's hitting that day, right? Pitching, he's not even thinking about throwing a
Has to
baseball.
be, yeah.
There's a shut off and a switch of the mind, like right away. You know, and I mean,
He's definitely probably able to disassociate.
Because I mean,
Which is
Yeah.
really impressive.
yeah,
Very
because he
impressive.
hits the days he pitches too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
which is like
no, he's able to disassociate for sure.
and like I mean, last year he was on the worst team he could be on, the Angels. Unfortunately, that's my
Hey,
team.
come on, man.
That's our team.
That's our
Yeah.
team.
But like he would throw, I don't know how many games he took him into the 8th just pitching. You know what I mean?
That's
And
crazy. He's
it-
not just a relief pitcher. He's a
Starter.
starter.
Yeah.
That's hard to do.
I mean, Michael Lorenzen. I mean, he two-wayed in college. He was the center fielder, and then he'd come in and close it.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, Lorenzen hits tanks. I
Yeah.
mean, he probably could have been a major league outfielder. If he really put it into it, but he throws like 97, 100 miles an hour too.
Yeah.
So it's like
I mean, shoot, Bumgarner hit tanks too.
Bumgardner, Zach Greinke, like he was a
He was a good
Gatorade
hitter.
Player of the Year as a two-way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like all these guys. It's
Was he
like,
really?
yeah,
Where do you go to high school?
I don't
Oh,
know.
Green Key could bang.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could definitely hit.
Yeah, at one point he wanted to just scrap pitching and just be a shortstop
Yeah.
in the system.
Yeah, and it's like I feel like we see a lot of guys converting nowadays, like, you know, especially at the college level. How many
Yeah.
guys got drafted this year that hit and pitch? Like just in the top 10 picks? Like
I don't know, but probably a good amount.
Jack Caglione.
Well, I mean, even Skeens was a two-way guy, but they turned him into a PO. You know.
Yeah, he hit bombs at Air Force.
Yeah.
What about the guy that pitches with both arms? I feel like no one talks about
Oh
him.
my God. Dude,
If that dude doesn't get drafted,
He's a dude.
if that dude doesn't get drafted, he's throwing 95 plus from both
I
sides.
think
99?
I think he did. Yeah.
95.
Yeah.
The guy-
Did he get
the guy
drafted?
with
He was like
Mississippi State.
he was
Yeah,
I
he got
think he was
drafted.
top
Very good.
15 picks.
Top
How come we don't talk about him?
Absolutely.
Dude, 99 from the right side, 95.
Dude,
from the
he'll
left.
be in the league forever. If he has an injury to one side, he has his other side.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, like the last-
he'll
I was
be
just
in the
talking
league
about that.
forever.
The last switch pitcher we had was Pat Vendetti, and I mean he didn't throw as hard as that kid does.
Yeah.
You
Pags,
know,
where do you pull these stats out of? And
just
names?
no baseball,
Good for you.
just
man.
no ball.
Jesus.
I remember Vendetti.
I mean I remember Pat Vendetti because it's like one of those things. It's like we didn't appreciate Pat Vendetti, like we really didn't.
Yeah.
I mean a guy throwing both arms, like
Yeah.
that's so hard to do.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, incredibly hard.
Yeah, I mean, that comes down to just the type of athlete, you know, like, I don't even know the dude's name that got drafted with both, like he throws 95 and 99
Kinda
from,
like
from both arms,
a
right?
weird name. Yeah.
I want to say it's 92 lefty and then definitely 95 plus righty.
Yeah,
I heard it was 99 from the right side and then
they're-
95
like
from the
these
left.
these guys' types of focus though, like, I mean, you could take it to Otani too. They're not taking a single day off.
No.
These guys are they're in the grind, like for good.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
and that's what a lot of these young players, you know, like have issues with.
Yeah.
Is they're very selective with how they want to train or what
Yeah.
they want to do.
To attain these types of levels of performance, it just has to become a lifestyle. And
Absolutely.
I feel like, you know, a lot of younger athletes don't realize that. I think at some point, ball players realize it has to be a lifestyle, but to be able to compete in this game, in this industry, the quicker you realize it has to become a lifestyle, I think will serve you good.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Because, I mean, and I get it, like some athletes, you know, they just might not be mentally mature, right? But then when you have an athlete that wants to go play college ball, right, but only wants to go hit and not do workouts, you know, or focuses solely on a bodybuilding lift when he knows he should be lifting a different type of way, you know, increasing his mobility and athletic performance, right? But he's just all about lifting heavy weight,
Yeah.
right? Like like just because you get strong doesn't mean
Yeah.
you're gonna have success.
You know what's funny too? I feel like for the vanity purpose of weightlifting and training and that kind of stuff, I feel like you actually get better results based on training functionally.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, so I feel like, you know, guys will chase a certain type of physique and think it's going to come from lifting really, really heavy weight. But now, if the lift itself isn't functional enough, I feel like you're not going to get
Yeah.
the physique that you're looking for anyway.
No,
So,
absolutely not. I mean, like Matt, you played in the draft league, right? So like when you're actually going out and training, right? You're trying to limit your soreness,
Yeah. Like,
right?
yeah, because like in season, like in pro ball, it's like a long season, so you gotta like, you can't train like you're in the off season where you're lifting heavy and you're lifting every day. You have to pick your days. You have to pick your lifts.
Yeah.
You know, like for me, I didn't do legs like a day before like I knew I was starting. You know, because I was a catcher, so I wasn't starting every night. But I had an idea like when I was gonna start, so I wouldn't like lift heavy the day before. You know.
Yeah. No.
Like,
absolutely.
I'm sure the pitcher's the same thing. You played in the draft league, you kind of understand how that works
Yep.
too. So
played there in the Pioneer League. Yep.
Yeah.
Should even maybe not even lifting heavy 2 days before,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I feel like second day soreness is a real thing.
Yeah. It's
Well, yeah. I mean, we call it in the strength world delayed onset muscle soreness. You know, and so like as a strength coach, when I'm programming lifts, you know, like I'm trying to limit that when it's in season. In the off season, I don't care, you know, because I want these guys to develop as much physically as possible, right? But in season, I mean, most of the lifts that we do are going to be athletic lifts.
It's the boring stuff that no one wants to do.
Yep.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. It really is, and the boring stuff is arguably
probably
the most important.
Yeah.
And again, that's the second you realize it has to become a lifestyle, the boring stuff doesn't become as boring.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like we have the pleasure of working with Dave Coggin here. Another shout out, Dave Coggin. One of the best pitching coaches in the nation, right? Working with guys like Joe Kelly, and he's very, very simplistic with his methodology on pitching. And on top of that, like all the stuff that we talk about here, we have guys in our program that constantly want to be on track, man, that constantly want to throw 100% velo every single time they get in here, and then there's Dave Coggin that's literally teaching guys that are playing at the highest level, who are the best in the game, to stick their landing, to have awareness when they're coming to a controlled landing, right? And working guys with athletic pens, not focusing on velo, and these kids, they don't want to listen to that.
I mean, I think he's definitely a rare pitching coach in today's era because he makes it very, very simple. And I think that's the beauty in his art of coaching. Because again, we're in an era with a lot of information. Things can get really convoluted. Guys can get into the Superdome, But when you go back to some kind of foundation, like it can be that simple if you let it.
Absolutely, absolutely, and like if you have to focus on your foundation first.
Yeah.
Without a foundation, you're not gonna have the level of success that you want, right? Like, I mean, as a pitching or as a development coach, like working guys in the weight room, and then me having the benefit of being a pitching coach as well, I'm looking at literally just little things that are fundamentals like ankle stability. Do they have the stability to be on one leg? Pitching, like 99% of your mechanics are gonna be on one leg.
Agreed.
Like if you can't stay on one leg,
that's gonna be you're
gonna have issues.
Yeah.
And it's that simple. It's that fundamental.
Going back to Dave Coggin's pocket whip and stick method, I feel like his method is easier to achieve with very, very good single leg stability, right? Whether it's the back leg, the front leg, both. Hip rotation, all that kind of stuff. The pocket cleans up when some of that stuff is firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, and when all of it's flowing, I mean, he's kind of starting to get more legitimized with his like research, right? And like we're doing research with USC, right? So like USC is showing us over the past, I think he's been doing it for the last 3 to 5 years. It's showing to lower stress but increase performance, But and me and Brett talk about this all the time. Like it's the MLB, they just want big numbers. They don't care how you get there, right? And there's ways that they're achieving this, right? But with Dave, he's big into longevity and developing starters, right? And so when you're a starter and you're developing properly, throwing hard with low stress, that's, in my opinion, much more valuable to an MLB team or a college.
Yeah, I think the best person to talk to about this is JT, because you've done the treads. You've done the drive lines.
Absolutely. I did Tom House.
You've done PFA. You've done Tom House.
I've done. Yeah. Like Tom House. Like I know that Dave. Dave worked with Tom House, right? And a lot of the stuff that Dave has, was kind of influenced by him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like Dave is taking this to a whole nother level, And when kids are able to really dedicate themselves to this development, their performance increases. And then like why don't we start talking about that now? Like their performance increases. They're kind of like that senior in high school. Reaching their max capability at that age, right? But now it comes down to kind of like exposing themselves to colleges. Like how for you guys, like how did you guys get it? Or I know Alex, you got exposed through video. And Alex, why don't you talk about kind of like your process, because yours was a little different. Mine was different too, but yours was significantly different.
I was getting like a little overlooked because of my size and stuff in high school. I was gonna go the JUCO route, and then I just decided to get a recruiting video done.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about what your numbers were like too, because your numbers were
Yeah, I mean, I
impressive.
think I was hitting over 400, third team, all-state catcher,
in one of the
MVP
best
of the league.
in one of the best high school leagues in the country.
Yeah.
You know,
And just not one phone call. So after that, I was getting a little discouraged, got a recruiting video done. And the good thing about a recruiting video is a showcase, you got like 10, 15 scouts there that are looking for one specific guy.
yeah,
With a recruiting video, you can send it out to all 1,500 colleges in the U.S. you know?
Yeah.
So-
Because every college has their own needs.
Yep,
exactly.
Right.
Correct.
And
Yes.
so the college that you went to and you're blessed enough to go to, they saw they needed you
Exactly.
specifically.
Yeah.
That's why you signed there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Go where you
That's why
want.
it's huge.
Yep.
Go where you want.
What we're doing for our players, right? Like, we're able to provide them with that very high quality video. You know, that's a lot different. It's not just posting up a camera and letting them do their skill work, right? Like, we have professional videographers. We're using TrackMan. You know, hopefully partnering with TrackMan here soon, right? And being able to give these kids like a full player profile with videos with metrics embedded into these videos is huge.
Yep.
Huge. You know, these colleges don't even need to go out and see them anymore, because now I mean, like, yeah, they're going to follow them, right? Invite them out to the school, but I mean, with the type of quality video that we're providing, the metrics that we have, you know, like, it is there's no room for any discrepancies. You know,
It's not just good for the players, it's also good for the coaches too.
well, yeah, I mean, like, I would argue to say that we cater more towards like colleges that are looking for players.
Exactly.
You know, and we're able to provide a full, detailed, thorough list of player profiles.
Yeah.
You know, for these colleges to look at. The other beauty is, like, what do we have out there last time? 4 videographers, 8 different cameras, right? Capturing every piece of mechanics that a player has, right? And yeah, if a player's like metrics aren't there, the capability of the player is there.
Well, that's not
right.
Coaches don't only just look at metrics, right? They're going to look at the mechanics and
How a player moves.
Projectability.
Exactly.
Projectability, exactly.
Yeah.
The ceiling.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
Exactly.
like just because the players might not be performing, a coach might see them and be like, "Hey, look, like this kid looks very, very fluid with everything he's doing.
Yeah.
You know, put a little size on him, give him a little bit more of elite development. You know,
And that's why I think it's good for, let's say, a freshman to come to our Pulse Athletic Showcase too.
yeah,
Because if you're a freshman that only throws 80, that could be projectable for a college coach.
yeah, and to go back to what Matt was saying, I mean, everything that we're doing is fairly affordable. You know, we're definitely at the lower cost range. Like, kids shouldn't be paying what they're paying for just to be seen by a college.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, these kids are going to these showcases for $500, and then, hey, guess what? For another $500, you could pay for a video. Well, why not come to our showcase? You know, you get video included. And you can have the video to send it wherever you want, be posted on our player profile, be put on YouTube, and be put on our Instagram page, potentially, with metrics, with TrackMan, with sprint gates, with everything there for you to succeed and get exposed to go to colleges.
Yeah.
It's not exclusive. It's yours.
Exactly.
It's yours.
Exactly,
You can
yeah.
do whatever you want with it.
Exactly.
That goes back to, like, when I was in high school. I wish I did something that you did. Is instead of, like, I know I was fortunate enough to go to, like, those game showcases, but I should have took the incentive and, like, made my own showcase video like you did. That would have helped me.
Yeah, 100%.
Cheaper, and I could have saw where I was at.
Yep.
And maybe, like, worked harder. Maybe I wasn't working hard enough too. If I had, like, a low exit velo, or, like, I wasn't throwing hard enough. Maybe if I did that my freshman sophomore year, then I could be like, oh, that extra motivation to, like, okay, let's see where I'm at next year. You know?
Yep.
Yeah, and look, like, we have a showcase August 25th, right? If you're just a player and you just want to get your numbers, get your metrics taken, have your video, low cost, right? And so if you're a coach and you're not giving your kids an opportunity to go to this showcase, like, shame on you, really. Like, it's a low cost, it's affordable to each player. Each player is going to get video, each player is going to get metrics. And if you really do feel as though you want your kid to go, or you want your players to go to college and do your job as a travel coach, a scout coach, or whatever, right? You should be 100% going to our showcase.
I think we've only had one showcase so far, and we've already had 2 of our players commit to colleges,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool to see. So.
Yeah, I mean, in the last week, I've helped 2 of our guys go to college. You know,
Yep.
JT has been
Helped
part
a
of those
couple as well.
conversations.
Yep.
Yeah, JT's been part of those conversations. You know, like it's really not that hard as long as you are willing to expose yourself and do what's right for you. You know, which is get your video taken. You know.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it for our first podcast. I think that was pretty good. You know, August 25th is going to be a showcase over at Caneo Creek in Thousand Oaks. Like we do absolutely outstanding work. You can find us at pulseathletics.com. You could also find us on Instagram. It's pulse.athletics. Remember, be elite and go be seen.